We've come into London to do some research into where the Great Fire of London started, and that... I'm a fire! You got all the sign in the picture? So we went out into London and we took the X100S, and I let my 6-year-old daughter take some photos with it and tried to teach her a bit about how to take photos. And it made me think that this is a really, really good camera to learn on for a certain reason. And this applies not just to young people learning, but I think something that we all need to remember a little bit more when we're developing our photographic skills. Now, this isn't an advert for the X100 series, far from it. This can be applied really to any camera, but the X100 is a really good example of the sort of thing you should be using because of its limitations. Because it's a 35mm equivalent fixed lens, you can't change lenses, you can't zoom, you have to learn that focal length. It's better than your phone because your phone has distractions and you want to maybe upload to Instagram straight away, and you'll be trying to edit on the fly, and it's less about taking the photo. Looking through that viewfinder gives you this kind of purity where you're just looking at this 3x2 rectangle and everything outside of the frame is just black and everything in the frame is there kind of glowing in your eye. It puts you in the world of that photograph. Because learning photography isn't about learning how to use a camera, it's about learning how to see. And when you just use one setup, you become very in tune with that setup and you start to be able to see in terms of the camera. You start to be able to see the photo before you even put the camera up to your eye. What's also good about the X100 is that width of lens doesn't give you much scope for throwing stuff really out of focus. So you can't kind of hide behind that shallow depth of field, you can't rely on technology, you have to really think about the frame. What do you want? The camera? Yeah. So what I'm basically saying is stop buying gear. Well, not stop buying gear, but stop taking lots of gear out, stop relying on gear. Try this exercise. Use just one lens and one camera body, preferably a prime lens, and just take it out everywhere with you, and don't think about where you're going, just use that one lens and really challenge yourself to think in new ways with that lens. Because the problem with choosing lenses based on what you think you're going to be shooting is you are limiting yourself to your existing understanding of photography, and it's only when you're forced to do something different that you have to explore new avenues and develop your skill. So for example, if you were to go out to maybe like a zoo or a safari park, you'd take probably the longest lens that you've got in order to get nice close-up shots of the animals. So don't do that. Instead, take a 35mm or a 24mm and take pictures of other things. You are not going to get a close-up shot of the animals, but you could get really interesting pictures of maybe kids watching the animals, or the inside of your car, or maybe you have to go up and get close to the animals. See where it takes you. And I don't mean to do this on professional jobs. When you go out to a professional job, just take an arsenal of lenses that you think you'll need. You know, you're working for a client. But just do this for yourself as an exercise, and you will find that you start to become so in tune with that one setup that you start to be able to really understand what will and won't make a good photo, because you'll constantly be thinking just in terms of that particular width of lens, in terms of the aperture, in terms of the framing. You're going to start to just see it everywhere, and rather than only thinking about photos when you've got your camera up to your eye, you'll be thinking about photos all the time. This will really help you develop your skill as a photographer. You don't mind going up again?
I like going up there anyway.
Hi, yes, I'm going up this time. This is quite a long way. This is how high we're going, my ears are just popped. And that is why we're up here. There's Canary Wharf.